the background of the card today, I'm going to use this Distress Oxide Speckled Egg and the ordinary Distress Ink Antique Linen. That one could be an oxide as well as a substitute. It isn't a problem. And then I'm going to use just some water. This water bottle of mine is quite old and the plastic has tarnished, but it is just water inside. So I'm starting by putting some colour on a mat of the two colours that I said. And spraying it with some water. And then taking a piece of the multifarious card that I've cut down previously to 4.5 inches by 6.5 inches. I'm just going to press that on. And press down with my fingers on the back. And this is the sort of look you'll get. Just gives a completely different look to using distress inks rather than just using the solid pad without the water. I quite like that because I don't want it too obvious. So I'm actually going to excuse me, I have got a bit of a cold at the moment, so you'll have to excuse me if my voice sounds a bit weird and wonderful. And I think while I'm on, I'm going to actually do another one that's using the Distressing Antique Linen and the Distress Oxide, never ever want to say that right, Candied Apple. And then again, the multifarious, exactly the same sizes. Adding some water. And pressing down on the back. This is a lot more vibrant because the Candied Apple is really a strong colour. I think I'm just going to add a little bit more of the antique linen. A little bit more water. Don't worry about anything that you get on the back. You'll not see it. And can you see, just because I've added a bit more of the antique linen, it's now bringing it in a bit more. Play about with it, play about, it doesn't matter how much you put of one or how much you put of the other. It's just to finish up with the look that you want. You can add more colours, but it's just a basic way of doing it that I thought I'd show you today. So that's those two for the time being, and now we need to leave them to dry. Right, so those are being left to dry, and I thought I'd show you what I'm going to do for the cards. So I'm using the medium Lavinia 691 swing bed, the Lavinia 580 fir cone, fir cone branch, two of the fairy foragers, which is Lavinia 498, the mini holly, which is Lavinia 510, and some of the words from the Christmas blessing stamp, which is Lavinia 421. And I've actually already created a card using the ones with the Candied Apple and the antique linen. And as you can see, I've created a shaker card. I got the idea from Jo Rice. She just used the one, so I decided to incorporate the two, and she used a different character inside. So I've used the fairy foragers, and I've also used, to create the domes, these Sizzix plastic domes that Patty has in store. Right, shall we begin? So this is the other one that you saw me create, that has the antique linen and the speckled egg oxide on. Come out quite nice, I think. So I'm going to now decide which way up to use it. So I think there's quite a bit more white space on this side, so I think we'll start off with that one. And I'm just going to bring in some paper just to save me worktop a little bit. So we'll start off with the swing bed. And I'm going to bring in my stamping platform. You don't really need to use it, but I just find that this is a bit of a handy idea with it. So because I'm having two of them, as in my previous card I showed you, I want one higher and one lower. So taking your one that's your actual stamp, put it at the top. And then the one that will be your next one, you can just roughly place where you would be putting it with your acetate from the same stamp. But this time you're not using it to place that stamp, you're just doing it for your eye-in of roughly where your next stamp would be. So, like, would I want it a bit lower? Maybe a bit higher. On the other one I've done it about there, and I think that was probably about right. So you can then remove that acetate and you can make this a little bit, me cardstock's warped a little bit with it being wet. I should have put it under something heavy, but hopefully it won't be a problem. I'm taking the Black Fesliyan Clay, which is Nocturne. Light taps as usual on the stamp and press down. I have found out that when the water is added to the distress inks, it seems to allow the stamping a little bit easier. It doesn't, even the oxide one doesn't seem to repel it quite the same. But I'm still going to give it a few minutes of, well, a few seconds of holding just to try and get that impression first time. Now it's still in places on the other one it did it first time, but it just goes to show you never know. So press it there where it wasn't. And this is the really good thing I love about the stamp press. Well, I will call it a stamp press, as you know, stamping platform, that you can go back and you know it's going to be in the right place. So I'll just clean this off now. As you can see, this time it's stamped okay. So I'm just getting a damp cloth. As you know, I tend to use the wet wipes just because they're in my stash, but you can use a wet cloth. Doesn't really matter. And then I usually dry it off with a dry old cloth, just so that then it doesn't leave any residue on the stamp for when you're next doing your next one. Now here I might use my acetate in the way that I like to do, just so I can again put it roughly where I want. I think that looks quite nice. And use my magnets like you've seen me do before, and roughly place it over the top. No, it doesn't have to be in exactly the right place, the same place, but it just gives a bit of a guide. So, not moving your paper, take the acetate away, and again ink up your stamp. And as you can see, because we wiped the stamp really well, it didn't leave an imprint. That would have left it on the back of the acetate actually, wouldn't it? But as you can see, there isn't on any on there either. So yep, and that one this time has stamped out really nice. So as you can tell, sometimes it works first time, sometimes it doesn't. But like I said, this is why I love these stamp platforms for this. So I'll just put that back on there. And that's that for that one. Now then, I told you I was using the furry foragers. There's 4 of them. And they're such cute little stamps. But because I've got 2, I want one going that way and one going that way. So, of course, when they're turned over, they actually look like they're going the opposite way when you look at them. But, of course, when they're stamping, they're like that. Now, on the first one, I did them a little bit higher up, but I think I've decided that I don't actually want that. So I'm just going to put them a little bit further down this time. Again, you could use your acetate for this if you want, but to be honest, you can see through the design through the back of the stamp. So I think I'm quite happy with that. Yeah. You could stamp these individual. And of course, if you're doing it with just an ordinary way and not using a stamping platform, you definitely would have to do. You'll have to excuse me if I keep having to clear my throat. I've had a cold and it's left it a little bit on my chest. Just clear away that excess ink off that stamp. You don't want that where you don't want it. Hopefully those 2 are now nicely inked. And just, because they're only small stamps, you can give fingers off each hand to each stamp. And there we go. Now then, yes, as you can see, I'll show you one on the other one. I did stamp them a little bit higher on these, and I wasn't quite as pleased with the effect. So I've stamped them a bit lower this time, and I'm more happy with that. So again, cleaning off your stamps. These aren't classed as mini stamps per se, but because they are a lot tinier than the other ones, they do have a tendency to get mislaid quite easily. So I do tend to put them back on the acetate as soon as I can. Right, for the next stage, I am going to do some stamping without my platform. Being brave, she says. Now I tend to have one of these. This one's an All and Create. Lavinia now do similar, but I already had this one in my stash. I'm not sure whether Patty has any in store or not. I will have to check later. I know she might have had them, and she might have the Lavinia ones. I'm not sure. They'll work exactly the same, but like I said, I had this one in my stash, so this is why I've got this one. Right, so now taking my fir cone branch, just placing it down on my stamp. You could use a different colour. You could come in with different colours, but I'm just going to stick to the Nocturne. Make sure that you're in. And I want to try and get it so that this branch looks like it's coming part way down. Some of the stamping will be off, the card at the top, doesn't matter. And bring it down and press down. And then lift away. And as you can see, it looks like this is on part of the branch. If it wasn't 100% on, you just take some sort of black pen, a fine liner pen or something that hopefully again didn't run, and just connect it with a bit of a line. And this one I want like this. So again, part of it is off the card. But you can see the effect that you're getting. See if I can come in a little bit. You have to watch out because when I bring the camera in, sometimes it goes out of shot so easy. And then that rather defeats the object, doesn't it? So for this one, I'm only going to have part of the stamp. And again, press down. And then maybe one more. And this time we're coming down here. So I'm going to, do I want it like that? Or do I want it like that? I think we'll have it like this. So again, press it down where it is. Yeah, that's fine. I like that. So again, we'll just clear. Okay, catching my light. And again, onto its backing. Just let me. So now I'm coming in with my mini holly. And I can't find a smaller stamping thing to put my stamp on. So I'm going to use this just the same, which it's fine, it doesn't matter. And this I'm just going to place maybe there. Just to bring in a little bit of a different texture and look. You can do as much or as little of this as you want. Never be afraid to turn your card or turn your stamp. That just filled in that little bit of white there. And I think that might be enough. Don't want. When you've got your stamp like this, better if there's no ink on it at all. So just make sure that it's clean. You can hover, as long as you can see through, you can sort of hover your stamp when it's got no ink on, to see if you would sort of like one somewhere as well. And actually, I think I might do one there. There we go. Yeah, that's just filled in that top section even more. Right, I have got one of the domes out and didn't get to the other one. That was a bit silly, wasn't it? Right, so now then, I think before I put those on, I think I'll just colour in the white berries. There could be any coloured berries on here, to be honest. In fact, I would imagine that probably what colour are on. Anyway, I can't remember what colour are on holly berries, but poetic licence, they're being white today. So just doing small circular dots in where the berries are, using a white jelly roll pen. Excuse me, having to keep clearing this throat of mine. And I might find some later that I haven't done, but I think I might have hopefully got them all there. So that, yes, that does that. So now I'm going to do the, I have some very, very fine Glamour Dust glitter. If you haven't got that, that's fine, just use any. And you just want a tiny amount. And you just need that to be away from where the sticky part of the domes are going to be. So literally just take your sticky part off. And sectioning down your dome and press down around the outside. And while I've got it flat, I'll do the other one as well. So as you can see, they just have a fine layer of the adhesive, which really makes it really easy to do. And when you really press it down, the edges almost disappear. And then when you lift it up, you've got a little bit of glitter and a bit of a shaker card effect, which I think is quite nice. Right, I'm now going to, at this stage, put my card together before I finish it off. So my base is, pardon me, 5 by 7 inches. My next layer is 4 3/4 by 6 3/4 inches, and then, as you know, this was 5. Was that right? 5 by 6. So I think that's right. Like I say, I don't really do inches. In our country, we use millimetres more, and the inches confuse me a little bit. Hopefully some glue is going to come out of my glue pot. And it's not so right, I'll use a different one. I think Patty sells this anyway. This is a good glue. Really is my favourite glue, but it's quite expensive in our country. In case you've not gathered or don't know, I live in the UK, so we don't always have things that are overly readily available like in America. And when we've paid for the import fee, duties and everything else, it works out really expensive. So that's on that layer. Then make sure that your card will open the way you want it to. done that before today. Glued something down and then I've glued it the wrong way. Not a good look. There we go. So you've now got your borders around. And I do find, even though I wouldn't normally say black's a Christmas colour, that black just really echoes the black of what you've done. So now I'm going to get and use a, it's a Jelly Roll clear glitter pen. And I'm just going to highlight, and not following the pattern really, glitter some of the branches, not all of them, and usually on the top line, because normally on well, anything that's to do with this, fair enough, isn't to do with the sun or the moon, but the bottom usually has the shade, so the top of something usually has, like, if it was a frosted tree, the frost would be on the top section, not the bottom. And I'm just going to bring a little bit down on that. I'm hoping you can see what I'm doing. Like I say, I'm not doing every section, and on these cones I'm literally just highlighting little bits of it. Just brings and along some of the edges of the holly. And maybe on the line of the holly as well. Because as you can see, I'm not adding much more colour to this this finished card. You could have, you can of course, you can bring in the browns, and you can stamp the branches in brown, you can put browns onto the cones. You can do anything you want, it's your card. But I'm just showing you a way of doing it, just for an example. Probably won't be able to. Now then, on that one, of course, I've realised that, and I've only just realised, hasn't really got its hanging from mid-air, isn't it? And I was rather silly because I didn't even realise that before. But, as we said before, it's not a problem. So, I shall just put my stamp back, and I need to put some paper just on my black, and it's going to be fun because of course I've got my domes on now. He laughs on me. So hold your paper over the black card that you've put on. This is going to be fun, isn't it? Right, I need to move my stamp higher up. I need to have my stamp as close. Now, of course, if I had a smaller stamp holder, I wouldn't be having this problem. But like I say, I can't find them at the moment, which is typical. So, yeah, I should be able to do that now. So, holding my piece of copy paper just on the edge of my black, 'cause even though I'm stamping in black, so it probably wouldn't show anyway. And I've put my stamp to the closest so it doesn't bang into this. And I'm hoping to bring in another branch. And we'll see what happens. a little bit messy, but hey ho. So I need to get a fine liner pen, and I need to just tweak that as if it's coming off these branches. And to be honest, that look of more branches and things, to be honest, on a real tree, that won't be the effect you get, so I'm not too bothered about that. So I don't know if you can see the glittery bits or not, probably not. This is the problem with photography and taking videos and things, you can't always see the glitter, but hopefully you can see the glitter in the shakers, hopefully. Try to... I can't tell whether you can see the glitter from what I'm seeing or not. Right, so, as I've said before, if something goes a little bit wrong, just have a think about it, and hopefully it's not a total disaster. Now then, on my first card, I used some Christmas stamping. Now, these are all individual words, and I found out, because they've got a good space, which you can see, there's a good space between them, that you can actually mask them off and use which you want. Sorry about that, couldn't find me tape from Sweet Poppy Designs. So again, find out, so I want to use the Christmas, so get that the right way, and then so that you're covering up the one underneath, just press that tape down over the top of the one underneath, and ink up your stamp like taps, and pull your tape away. And roughly press. Right, I'm going to have it. Because of, again, because I put the dome in, it's going to be wrong. So I'm going to do it all again, but put it higher up. You think I'd have learnt last time, wouldn't you? And try and have it on straight. So like I say, not a problem. Do exactly the same steps again. Remember to pull the tape off, or else you'll be getting a nice... Actually, that's not stuck. Like I said, I must find a smaller stamping block. I'm not very happy with that one. That one's not sticking very well. That one stuck lovely. I do know actually what that one was. It the glue on it had gone a bit off because I'd had it open a while. Anyway, I'm quite sure I might stick some of this, what do you call it, glue underneath. Dries clear anyway, and that will be hopefully solving that problem. Yours won't do that if you've got some. Like I said, this one was absolutely fine. Unfortunately, I just made an error with how I used it. So we've got Christmas. So there's peace, love, hope, faith, joy, angels and blessings. On my other one, I use blessings. What do we want on this one? Maybe Christmas joy. So again, because I've got the same problem again, I'm going to have it that this actually is off me platform, me stamp holder. It'd be so much easier if I could just find my small stamp holder. Definitely a job for later today. I'm going to have to try and find more, definitely. Anyway, this is showing you that, yeah, another way of so again, using one at the top this time, and one above it and one below it. Just wipe that off there. And press that down. Doesn't matter that this has gone over the dome because there's no ink on them, so it's not going to matter. There we go. Just goes to show. You can get your head round anything if you really, really need to. Right, okay.